America is weak now. They couldn't even beat Iran. No, that's a lie. You see that take everywhere, on X, TikTok, even some news channels. And on the surface, it makes sense, right? Billions spent, month of tension, and no regime change, no surrender. But what if I told you this narrative is completely backwards? Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you that the United States is still the most powerful nation on earth, and Iran proved it's much more stronger than anyone imagined. And by the end, you'll understand why this war could change power dynamics in the world for decades to come. First, let's kill the weak America myth. The United States still has the largest economy on the planet, more advanced fighter jets, submarines, and space-based weapons than their rivals combined, a currency that still settles 90% of global trades, and political influence from NATO to G7 to missile defense in Japan and control over Europe. Finally, the biggest military budget and the most professional and equipped military personnel in the world by far. Strength isn't about winning every single conflict, it's about capacity. And by that metric, America is still the biggest guy in the class. So if the US isn't weak, why didn't they crush Iran? Because the question is wrong. The right question is, how on earth did Iran survive or even win? Think about where Iran came from. 50 years of brutal sanctions, no access to global banking, constant cyber attacks, assassinations of their top nuclear scientists and leaders, hostile neighbors. Oh, a few coups d'etats and 8-year war with Iraq that killed 500,000 people. Also protests at home. The media all around the world trying to depict them as the devil. And so many other things they have experienced. So by every rational forecast, Iran should have collapsed decades ago. But here is the thing the West always misses. Iran learned to play asymmetric warfare like a grandmaster. They are the oldest empire on earth, the cradle of civilization, and utterly smart nation. They learn and they survive, as they have done for 3,000 years. They build ballistic and hypersonic missiles, probably the best in the world, and they weaponize geography. The Strait of Hormuz, friends in Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Yemen. When the latest conflict began, Iran didn't just defend, they projected power, hitting 16 US bases in 8 different countries, while also striking deep into Israeli territory. And after just 1 month of fighting, Washington and Jerusalem were asking for a ceasefire. Let that sink in. A heavily sanctioned, diplomatically isolated country forced the world's only superpower and its most advanced ally to back down. So what comes next? This is where American political scientist Professor Robert Pape gets it right. He says, Iran is becoming the 4th center of power in the world. Not a superpower like the US or China, not a military giant like Russia, but a new pole, one that can block, disrupt, and negotiate from a position of strength, one with a powerful army, the experience of defeating a hegemon, the one with much oil and gas, with smart engineers and extraordinary geography, the one with a unique ancient culture and a robust national identity, the one that never backs down, a mixture of all other powers in one nation. Here is what that looks like. Iran now controls or influences over 20% of oil flows, 40% of fertilizer flows, and 25% of natural gas flows of the world. They're becoming a serious weapons exporter. Drones, missiles, air defense that hunted American advanced fighters for the first time in history. Sanctions are crumbling. South Korea, Japan, India, Turkey, Russia, China, Brazil, and even European nations are quietly resuming trade. Whether the US lifts them or not, world is moving on, and with millions of barrels of oil and other stuff on a daily basis, they can get rich as Arabs pretty fast. And no country will dare a direct military confrontation with Iran for decades, not because they have the biggest army, but because they proved they can turn any war into a nightmare for the aggressor. Now let's be honest, this isn't some fairy tale. The Iranian economy is still a mess. Inflation, unemployment, social unrest, those are real. But here is the crucial point. Strategic strength and internal happiness are not the same thing. History is full of tough, resilient nations that paid a huge price but came out strategically stronger, like Russia after Napoleon, China after the century of humiliation, Vietnam after the famous war, and now Iran. So next time someone tells you America lost because it's weak, correct them. America is still the strongest nation on the planet. But Iran is the strongest underdog of the modern world. A country that had no right to survive, yet turned all these advantages into leverage. And whether you love them or hate them, you have to respect this. They changed the rules of the game. What do you think? Is Iran really on its way to become a new center of power in the world? I'll be glad to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.